Let's start today's class. Name of the subject that I am going to continue is digital signal processing. So in the last class you have already completed your signal and system class. So that class is very much important to continue the digital signal processing part. So I think all of you have already captured the things related to signal and system. So actually in this subject the books that I'm going to follow are DSP by Oppenheim, by SK Mitra, Prakash, TK Rawat.
Excuse me, sir. Your voice isn't audible.
Voice is not audible.
No, sir. It
So
is
no, sir.
audible.
For us, it's clear.
Sir, it's audible.
I think network may be issue from your side, from some of you. But if it is not audible to everyone, then there may be a problem from my side. Is it? Or everyone can
No, sir. It is audible.
No, sir, you are audible.
Okay.
Sumanti, rejoin.
Okay. Then better you should check your network. So TK Rawat. So these are the 4 books that I'm going to follow, and basically SK Mitra and TK Rawat that I'm going to follow. So if you want it, you can follow these 2 books, and for some cases, Oppenheim and Prokis, you can follow it. And there is another book for the latter purpose, means whenever I'm going to explain about the filter part, then you should follow the 5th book, that is Theory and Application of DSP by Rabiner and Gold. Theory and Application of DSP by Rabiner and Gold. So these are the 5 books we shall follow for this semester. Okay. So one thing is there, you don't need to note down this whatever I'm explaining here, because whatever I'm doing, I will make a video record and I will upload it, so you can just go through that video and you can continue after the class also. So just try to understand what I'm trying to say, and you don't need to note it down. So these are the 5 books we will follow. So now come to the part DSP, digital signal processing. So from the name you easily can understand that the important part is here signal, that must be related to digital signal and that signal we should process. So first of all, you need to know what is signal. So I think already you have or you know what is signal as you have completed your signal and system class. But just to recapture it, I am again explaining. It's a signal. It's a signal. So by definition, what should I say? In the x-axis, it may be time, it may be frequency, or it may be any spatial format. And in the y-axis, that will be basically the amplitude. So signal that has time frequency relation and also the amplitude relation. So by definition, what you can say? The time frequency, if we consider this part, these are all independent. Independent mean what? The time is not dependent to any other variable. Time is dependent on itself. Same for frequency. So that signal that I am mentioning here is a variable which is dependent on time. Signal is up to that. If we consider the time up to that, means that signal is dependent on time as well as frequency. So that by definition you can say signal is dependent on some independent variable. Signal is dependent on some independent variable, and obviously signal is a physical quantity. So any physical quantity that varies with some time, frequency, or space, or any other independent variable. Okay, this is a signal. A signal is dependent on some independent variable. Now, that signal must carry some information. That information may be anything, any information. That may be speech information named as the speech signal. Whatever we are speaking in telephone, radio, or in daily life, in that class also, whatever I am speaking, a signal is generating, and the signal is named as the speech signal. There is biomedical signal. There is biomedical signal, ECG, EEG. These are the biomedical signals that provides you the information related to human body. There are sound signal, there are music signal, video, image, radar. All signals are related to some information. So, in broad, a signal is a physical quantity that varies with time, space, or any independent variable, and it carries some information. It carries some information that can be conveyed, displayed, or manipulated. Whatever the information the signal carries, that information is conveying. Whatever the signal I am creating, that signal is conveyed to you. The signal can be displayed. Whatever the ECG, EEG signal that you can see, sinusoidal signal, you can see that can be displayed in your system, or you can manipulate too. Means whatever the signal, if the signal frequency is very low, you can manipulate by using a amplifier to make it a high frequency signal. Okay, so you can convey, you can display, you can manipulate the signal. So in broad, this is a signal. Okay, so that signal is need to be processed. Why do we need to process a signal? We need to process a signal to extract some information, some useful information. That information may help to solve any problem. That information may help to carry any news or something else. For example, whenever you are speaking in a mobile phone, speech signal you are providing, with that speech signal some external noise is also adding to that speech signal. But in the receiver hand, whenever someone receives that signal, he or she is only receiving the speech by eliminating the maximum amount of noise. In some mobiles the noise are high, in some mobiles noise are very low, but actually mobile what it is doing, it is simply removing the noise by keeping the speech. So this is signal processing. It is extracting some useful information from the overall signal. That is the importance of signal processing. And where it will be done? It will be done in a system. It will be done in a system. The system will carry, or the system will have some specific characteristics so that the information can be extracted. So you have to create that system, and if you are able to create that system, just you need to provide the input signal, you will get your output. You don't have to do anything else if you can able to create that system. That is also applicable in your daily life. If you can create a system, suppose roti maker, a daily life example I am providing you. A roti maker provides roti. You need to add the wheats and it will provide you the roti. So this is a system that is made to create the roti. Okay, so in that way, in DSP also you need to create a system that will do the operation you want. Okay, so that is a system. So in DSP, what is signal, what is signal processing, and what is system? Is that clear to all of you?
Yes.
Sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay. 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 Now, whenever you will do the signal processing, you need to know what type of signal you are processing. Basically, whenever you will consider a signal, that signal will have two types. One is analog signal, another will be your digital signal. Analog signal that have two different type of characteristics. One type of analog signal that have continuity in time domain or in frequency domain. Continuity means it is continuous. There is no break. It is continuously increasing with respect to the time, as well as continuous in amplitude domain. You can see it any point you can consider it is continuous. There is no break. So this is one type of analog signal, and second type of analog signal is that if we consider in time domain or frequency domain, these are discretized. Better I will draw here. This is discretized in time domain. Like that. Both are same signal. It is continuous in time domain, but it is discretized in time domain. But in amplitude domain, both are continuous. Just try to understand. Consider any value, this peak, so this is continuous. There is no break in amplitude domain. For this peak, this is also continuous. If this is 5, so you will consider 5. You will not consider 2 plus 3 like that. You will consider 5. So it is continuous in amplitude domain. But in time domain, it is continuous, it is discretized. So these two type of analog signal, you will see basically one is named as continuous signal, another is named as discrete signal. Both are analog signal. Keep in mind, in some cases, you may know that discrete signal means digital signal, but it is not. Discrete signal is always analog signal. It's a part of analog signal. Okay. Continuous means continuous in both direction, x and y. Discrete means discretized in the x direction or the time axis. So this is analog signal, and there is digital signal. Digital signal means it will understand only 0 and 1. Keep in mind. Digital signal means it will understand only 0 and 1. If a signal provides only 0 and 1, then only you can say it is digital signal. Okay. So these are the three types of signal. There are so other signals. By adding these two, you can create. There are depending on the requirement, we can do that, but that is the latter part. So you don't need to consider this one. Just consider signals are two types: analog signal, digital signal. Analog signals are two types: continuous signal and discrete signal. Okay. Now, In DSP or in digital signal processing, we will work considering that signal, discrete signal. The name of the subject is the digital signal processing, but we will process the discrete signal. The reason is that whenever you will provide one input signal, that input signal will always be analog. In maximum cases, whenever you will provide an input signal or you are getting a signal, that signal is analog. I am speaking, that is an analog signal. ECG signal that you are getting is an analog signal. Whatever the signal from the source you are getting is, in maximum cases, will be the analog signal. Okay, so you need to convert it into digital to process the signal in a digital system. Now matter is that if we simply convert the analog signal into digital and process it, complexity will be very high. So what we do, first we convert that analog signal, basically the continuous, that continuous signal, first we convert it into discrete. Okay, now over that discrete signal we do the processing. Over that discrete signal we do the processing. After processing, that discrete signal is converted to digital. Okay, after that, if there is addition or there is subtraction, then we do here. So whatever the main operation, suppose main operation means you have heard about the Fourier transform, you have heard about the DFT, you have heard about the FFT, you have heard about the Z transform. Whatever the techniques you have, DCT, discrete continuous transform, whatever the technique you have, all the technique will be applicable on the discrete signal. Because if you want to convert it into analog, you can make it easily. If you want to convert it into digital, you can make it easily. So keep in mind, whatever the operation you will do, that operation will be over the discrete signal. Then you will get your digital signal. Okay, that is the reason we will consider discrete signal. Now how it will be converted from analog to discrete to digital? First of all, you have done the sampling in your signal and system. So simply sampling will be used to convert a continuous signal. Suppose this is a continuous signal. This is a continuous signal. That continuous signal, through sampling, the signal will be converted to discrete. Like that, suppose. Now continuous will be represented by T. Discrete signal will be represented by N capital T, where capital T defines the gap between two samples, that is time period, time gap between two samples. Okay, that is your capital T. time between any two samples. You can consider these two, you can consider these two, or you can consider these two also, because each and every sample has a specific time gap, and small n defines the number of sample. Number of samples means this is 0, this is 1, this is 2, this is 3, this is 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Okay, so from 0 to 9 samples you have, and this t obviously defines the value up to that, and similarly this nt defines value up to that, n into 2. If we simply multiply total number of samples by the time gap, so you will get that distance. So both distance are same, as the both signal are same. One is the continuous, another is the discrete. So simply that t will be replaced by nt. For continuous it will be t, for discrete it will be n capital T. Keep in mind that part. So that is your discrete signal. You are simply using sampling to make it. Now suppose I am providing some value to make it more reliable. Suppose that signal has values like that: 3, 4, 5. These are peak values: 5, 4, 3, 2, 3, 5, 5, like that. Suppose each and every discrete signal peak value is like that. Now what will be, whatever the process is there, process will happen. After the processing you will get the discrete signal, and that discrete signal you need to convert it into digital. And how? For that case, first of all you need to consider bit to represent each and every peak values. So you need to choose that bit in such a way that it must cover the maximum amplitudes. Suppose for this signal maximum amplitude is 5, so you need to choose a bit to represent 5, 1, 0, 1. So minimum a system of 3 bits is needed. All of you know now what is bit?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
So you need to consider minimum 3 bit to represent all the values. It does not mean that you need to consider only 3 bit. You can consider 4, 5, 6. That depends on you. But if you can consider minimum 3 bit, then complexity will be minimum. If you consider 4 bit, complexity will be high. For 5 bit, complexity will increase, like that. So for simply example, I am considering a 3 bit configuration here. The digital signal or the digital system has a 3 bit configuration. Just 1 minute. Hello. Okay. Now what you need to do, all the peak values needed to convert it into digital, and you need to represent it in a signal like that. The signal will be a top value and the signal will be a bottom value. The top value will be 1, bottom value will be simply 0. Okay. Now simply you will represent each and every bit. First sample have 3, so to represent 3, 0 1 1, that is your 3. So if you represent it, it will be like that: 0 1 1. So that is your representation of first sample. Similarly, second sample is 4. 4 means 1 0 0. So second sample bit will be represented like that: 1 0 0. Then 5 1 0 1. So 1 0 1. In that way it will continue. So after that it defines 3 samples: 3 4 and 5. Okay, so matter is that whenever, keep in mind, whenever you are representing a discrete signal into digital, you are representing bit like that, and also you have to mention it's a 3-bit system. Otherwise, what will happen? If we don't mention, if it considered as a 4-bit system, you are representing it as a 3-bit, but you are mentioning the 4-bit. So what will happen? It will consider first 4-bit as a first sample. So 0 1 1 1, that will be considered as a first sample. So it is not the first sample. So there will be error. So whenever you will consider that, actually it will not considered by you, it will be considered by the computer. Whenever it will be considered, it must be mentioned that it's a 3-bit system. Otherwise, you will not be able to regenerate your signal. Okay, so in that way, one analog continuous signal will be converted to digital signal. So up to that, any question?
No, sir.
No, sir.
Okay.
No, sir.
Okay. Okay. So now come to the comparison.
স্যার
Yes.
স্যার একটা জিনিস জিজ্ঞেস করার ছিল, বলছি যে যদি ধরুন এমন একটা কোনো মানে পিক ভ্যালুর নাম্বার হতো, ধরুন 8 হয়, 8 কে আমরা যেমন লিখি 1110, তো তখন আমরা কিভাবে রিপ্রেজেন্ট করব? ওটা তো তাহলে 4টে হয়ে গেল।
11108 কি?
না, এক মিনিট,
Sir, 1000.
1000।
That is 8. That is 8.
হ্যাঁ স্যার।
So for that case you need to consider 4-bit simply. তার জন্যই তো আমি কনসিডার করছি কি, তার জন্য আমি কনসিডার করছি ম্যাক্সিমাম পিক ভ্যালু কত ফর এ সিগন্যাল, হোয়াট ইজ দ্য ম্যাক্সিমাম অ্যামপ্লিটিউড?
5।
5. So other amplitude must be 5 or less than 5. So if you have a system which has a maximum amplitude 8, so you need to consider that, and other will be 8 or less than 8. So you will represent 8 by bit, so 1000. So minimum 4-bit system you need to consider. So in that case, suppose here is a peak of 8. So in that case, that 3 will be represented like that: 0 1 0 1. As you have 8, so you need to consider 4-bit. Then you need to represent it. You need to represent 3 by 4-bit. You need to represent 4 by 4-bit. 0 1 0 0, like that. Then it will become like that. For 3 0 1 0 0. Sorry, 0 1 0 1. Sorry. For 3 it will be what? Not 0 1 0 1. Just make it correct.
0011.
Yes.
0011.
Yes. 0 0 1 1. That will be 3. So whenever you will represent 3, it will be like that: 0 0 sorry 0 0 1 1. That is your 3. That is also your 3. This is 3. This is 3. But for this case, you are considering 3 bit. For this case, you are considering 4 bit. So for this system, you need to mention that it's a 4 bit system. For this system, you need to mention it's a 3 bit system. Sometime you will see whenever you are considering chip, it is written as 64 KB, 64 KB or 32 KB chip. Have you seen it in your mobile chip?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
It means that the maximum peak that you can consider here, that will may be represented by 64 KB. Okay. Clear it or not?
একদম স্যার ক্লিয়ার।
Okay. So in that way, you need to convert it into digital.
স্যার বলছি বিটসের মাঝখানে টাইম গ্যাপ থাকবে তো?
হ্যাঁ,
So
না
bits এর
টাইম
মাধ্যমে-
নো বিটসের অ্যাকচুয়ালি এখানে টাইম ইন্টারভাল বলে কিছু থাকে না। এখানে ফার্স্ট বিট, সেকেন্ড বিট, থার্ড বিট ইন দ্যাট ওয়ে কনসিডার করা হয়। ঠিক আছে,
ওকে স্যার।
যখন তুই 3 বিট সিস্টেম কনসিডার করবি, তখন ফার্স্ট, সেকেন্ড, থার্ড বিট উইল বি কনসিডার্ড অ্যাজ এ ফার্স্ট sample of discrete type signal. Then after 4, 5, 6 will be the second sample. 7, 8, 9 will be the third sample, like that. এখানে কোনো টাইম কনসিডার করা হয় না। ঠিক আছে,
ওকে স্যার।
now if you have an analog signal, what you do, if you have an analog signal processor, you are providing analog signal, and you are getting output analog signal. The processing is happening over the analog signal. But if you have digital signal, then you will have the input as analog signal. That input will be first converted analog to digital converter. Okay, so you are getting a basically discrete signal. Then actually what is happening here, some filter is used. The filter is used basically to remove the unwanted part. Suppose you are providing analog signal, it's a speech signal. Within that speech, some additional information is also added as a noise signal. So that filter helps initially to filter out that noise. Okay, so when the noise is filtered out, only you have the speech signal. That speech signal is go through the ADC, and after the operation will be happen DSP processor, through DSP processor or DSP kit or DSP system, whatever you can say. After that, again it will be reconverted into analog by a digital to analog converter. There will be also a filter that filter simply filter out the unwanted analog signal, and finally you will get analog. Unwanted analog signal comes here due to the processing. Whenever the processing happens, some unwanted information may also be added. It does not mean that always it will add, but may also be added. If something happens like that, then that filter will help to remove that part. And a fresh analog signal, that is the extracted information or the information you need to extract, will be come out. Okay, so that is the process. So you can compare simply one analog signal processing and another digital signal processing. It is more complicated. Okay, you need filter, you need ADC, you need DAC. So it is more complicated, and also time is a factor. Okay, complicated and time also is a factor. So I will come to that point. That is a disadvantage. I will come to that point. But before disadvantages, I want to mention some advantages related to DSP system. First one is the accuracy. First one is the accuracy. In a DSP system, accuracy is very high. Why? Because it depends on bits. If you represent 101, that is bit, that will never change. But if you want to represent 5, both are same, but that will be measured by computer. And that computer will always understand is as a 101 means 5. But whenever you are getting a 5 like that, you need to measure it by visually by simply controlling some knobs present in your hardware. Suppose you are providing a voltage 5 volt, so you need to control that 5 volt manually. So the hardware providing 5 volt, it does not mean that the system is getting 5 volt from the voltmeter. There may be error related to manufacturer. It can display 5 volt, but it cannot provide 5 volt. There may be 4.9, there may be 5.1, like that. I think you have seen in your lab something like that. So there will be error. So accuracy will be less related to that. So obviously, whenever you will consider a system related to DSP, accuracy will be high related to analog signal processing. Next is flexibility. What is flexibility? See, if you have DSP signal, simply you can program that signal. If you need to apply 5 volt, simply in your programming you are changing. Suppose initially you are providing 3 volt, so you are simply changing 3 volt to 5 volt by simply using the keypad. Or you need to simply write down a code that is related to the amplifier, digital amplifier, or a digital filter. So simply you can do the programming and the operation will happen for a DSP processor. But if you have the analog signal processor, it's not the time to attend the class. If you have the analog signal processor, you are, suppose you have designed a circuit, that circuit allows you to amplify a signal. Now you need to change the amplification value. Suppose the circuit is amplifying 10 times, you need to amplify 20 times. What you need to do? Simply you need to change your circuit configuration. Maybe you need to change your resistance, maybe you need to change your input voltage, whatever. You need to change your circuit configuration. Means whatever the hardware you are using, you need to reconfigure that hardware. So that is the complexity. For DSP, simply from 10 times to 20 times, you just changing the gain from 10 to 20. It will provide the 20 times amplification. You don't need to consider the hardware. That is the flexibility of using the DSP processor. Okay. Third is the superior performance. Superior performance. What is happening here? Whenever you are providing a signal, I don't know whatever you have seen or not. Obviously, in that class, in the future, you will see it. The magnitude response and phase response. These two response you will see. Now, whenever you want to visualize the magnitude and phase response for DSP processor, it is very easy. But in analog, it is not possible. For analog, it is not possible to visualize the magnitude response as well as the phase response. For this case, you need to consider the DSP processor. That is your superior performance. Fourth advantage is the drift. Drift defines that due to the time, suppose you have designed a circuit that is providing that 10 times amplification, and you are keeping it. After 10 years, if you use that circuit, you will see it is not providing the 10 times amplification. It is changing 9 times, 8 times, 12 times, 5 times, like that. It will not provide 10 times amplification due to the age. But simply if you represent it in a discrete signal, processor, whatever the age, it's 10 years or 100 years, whatever, it will always be the same. Simply if we write down a movie in your DVD or in your flash drive, and after 1 year, after 10 years, if you simply use that flash drive, that the movie will be there and it will continuously play as same as it is initially. Means there will be no change due to the age. And also temperature. Temperature also may affect the analog signal. If you have filters, if you have diode, if you have transistor, all of you know that diode transistors are dependent on temperature. For different temperature, it provides different output. So obviously the temperature changes, the output changes. But in DSP processor, the temperature does not affect the result. So that is the advantage of DSP processor over the analog signal processor, that is drift.
So can you please repeat the drift once more?
Okay. If you have an analog circuit, simply suppose a simple circuit, if you have op amp, okay, in that op amp you are providing one input, suppose 1, and you are getting output 10. That may be current, that may be voltage, that may be something else, whatever, that may be gain, whatever. So you are getting, simply applying 1, you are getting 10. Okay, now same circuit, in the same circuit, if we change the temperature, what will happen? That op amp will be affected by that temperature, and it will not provide 10. It may provide 9, 8, 12, whatever, something different value, but it will not provide 10. Similarly, if we keep it for some days, you don't need to consider 10 years. If you simply 2 months or 3 months, if you keep it, after that if you check it, you will not get the gain 10. This is due to the aging effect. So age and temperature, these two parameter affects the analog signal or analog system. If you consider digital system, it's a simply a digital processor you have, and you have the coding. So here, if that coding provides you a gain, suppose 1 to 10, and if you change the temperature, that coding does not affect due to that temperature, and also due to the age. After 5 months, after 5 years, if we run the same code, it will give you from 1 to 10. So over the digital system, temperature and age does not affect. That is your drift effect. Clear?
Yes, sir, clear.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Next is the perfect reproducibility. From the name you can understand it very easily. Perfect reproducibility. I don't need to mention it, that simply you are representing 101, and that 101, whenever you will use, it will always give you 5. In a DSP processor, you are using 101, you are getting 5. From that 101, you are applying to that different DSP processor, you are getting 5. To another different DSP processor, you are again getting 5. So always 101 defines 5. So you can easily reproduce it. But analog signal, you can copy it in your flash drive. But in analog signal, you cannot do that. Means you cannot reproduce the same signal. And also one important is the low frequency capacity. As it operates in a simply coding, and it is dependent on 0 and 1. For low frequency, simply you can provide a low frequency value, over that it will operate. But in analog signal processor, it is complicated. For example, suppose the seismic application, you need to measure the seismic wave. you need to measure the seismic wave. How you can measure? It comes from, suppose, from below the sea. So if you want to measure the seismic wave by analog processor, you need to design a circuit that have capacitor, that have resistor, and you need to keep it in your system in the under the sea. It is very complicated. You will not get the seismic wave very clearly. But if you have the DSP processor, simply you can use that in your system very easily, as it takes a very low space. Okay, so it can be used for low frequency capacity also very easily. So these are the main advantages of a DSP processor. There are so many advantages you have, but these are the 6 main advantages.
Sir, can you explain the flexibility point?
Flexibility.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Flexibility. Flexibility means okay. Suppose you have a signal that provides 10 times gain. You have DSP processor, you have ASP processor. This is the digital signal processor, this is the analog signal processor. Both you have, and you are providing a input, suppose 1, and depending on that you are getting 10, suppose gain for both cases. Now you need to convert that gain from 10 to 20. How can you do that? For DSP processor, for first case, for ASP processor, if you consider the analog signal processor, simply you know to change the gain, you need to change the circuit configuration. You need to change the, if this is simply op amp, if this is simply op amp, you need to change that resistance value or that resistance value. Or for some cases, if circuit like that, you need to change that resistance value too. Okay, to change the gain from 10 to 20. Matter is that you need to consider the circuit and you need to change that. But in DSP processor, you don't need to consider the circuit. Simply represent in your coding the gain from 10 to 20 by using your keypad simply. If you mention it 20, the same circuit will give you always gain 20. You need to change the circuit as you need to change for analog signal processor. So that is the flexibility. One circuit you have designed, the design is dedicated to provide a gain of 10, or simply you can control the gain by controlling the resistance value by using a potentiometer. You have seen that gain is controlled by 1 to 10. In that case also, you need to change the resistance value by using the potentiometer. But in DSP processor, you don't need to consider the circuit, DSP circuit or DSP system. You don't need to keep your hand to that. Simply in your coding, convert that gain 10 to 20, you will get your result. So that is the flexibility, use of flexibility of DSP processor. Clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So depending on the advantages, DSP system has some disadvantages also. I have already mentioned the complexity. You are using different filters, you are using ADC, you are using DSC. So complexity is increasing. That is one point. Second point is speed, means time. Time dependent on speed or speed dependent on time. That is another parameter. That if the bandwidth is very high for a system or for a signal, then you cannot use DSP processor to operate that. Specifically, if I mention one example, if a frequency bandwidth 100 megahertz, if you have a frequency, if you have a system or if you have a signal which has a frequency of 100 megahertz, that signal cannot be processed in the DSP processor. It is not developed till. It is developing, but till it is not developed. So you cannot process a signal with a 100 megahertz frequency in a DSP processor. For that case, obviously you need the analog signal processor. So this is the disadvantage of speed and cost. Whenever the bandwidth is increasing, the complexity of DSP processor is also increasing. So the cost of a DSP kit is very high related to the ASP kit. Okay, so this is the disadvantage, speed and cost. Third is the finite word length effect. What is that? What is finite word length effect? See, whenever you are considering a DSP processor, you need to consider the system is bound to a finite range. If you consider simply, suppose computer, in your computer is bound to a finite range. That may be very high, but bound to a finite range. Suppose 0 to 64 KB. It is mentioned at 64 KB. That is the boundary. If you have a signal with 128 KB, that signal cannot be processed by this. For this case, you need to a system which has a boundary of 128 KB. For this case also, it's a boundary up to 128. 364 will not be processed. So whatever you are considering, you are mentioning a boundary, that is 64, 128, then 512, 1024, whatever, there is a boundary. If you consider 1024 KB, এখন ক্লাস জয়েন করার টাইম। If you use 1024 KB, that is also a boundary. After 1024 you cannot process. Means if we consider DSP processor, it has a boundary, a finite boundary. After that boundary, the operation will not be happen. But ASP processor, it can process up to an infinite range. Whatever the range, you can process in the ASP. Okay, that is the finite word length effect of DSP processor, that it has a boundary. Clear it or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so these are the three main disadvantages related to the digital signal processing. So up to that, if you have any question now, you can ask me. This is all for the first day class. I don't think I should continue. So if you have any question, you can ask me.
Hello, sir. Actually, I was not able to hear when you just stated that book